Frances Howard was an English noblewoman, born in 1590. She was the daughter of Lord Thomas Howard and Catherine Knivet. Her father was the second son of Thomas Howard, 4th Duke of Norfolk, a wealthy and powerful nobleman during the late 16th and early 17th centuries. Frances was married at the age of 14 to 13-year-old Robert Devereux, 3rd Earl of Essex, the grandson of Francis Walsingham. The marriage was primarily a political union, and because they both were too young, they did not live together or consummate their marriage. Robert was sent on a grand tour from 1607 to 1609, but when he returned, Frances avoided him. She had fallen in love with Robert Carr, 1st Earl of Somerset. She soon expressed her desire to annul the marriage. She claimed that she had made every attempt to be sexually compliant for her husband, but he showed no interest. She was still a virgin and was examined by 10 matrons and 2 midwives who confirmed her claim. However, it was widely rumored at the time that she arranged for a substitute to take her place for the examination. Frances had requested to be veiled during the examination for modesty's sake. In turn, her husband claimed that he was capable with other women but was unable to consummate his marriage because she reviled him and miscalled him, terming him a cow, a coward, and a beast. According to a friend, one morning he stood up and lifted his nightshirt to show them his erection, proving that he was physically capable of arousal. As the case of the annulment was not going the right way for Frances, King James I intervened and granted the annulment. Somerset was a favorite of the king, so his intervention was not such a surprise. However, not everyone supported the new couple. Sir Thomas Overbury, a close friend and advisor of Somerset, believed that Frances was only out for his money and tried to have the marriage called off. Frances' family didn't want Overbury ruin everything, so they plotted against him. With great allies by their side, they persuaded the king to offer Overbury the post of ambassador to Russia, knowing he would refuse in order to stay in England by Somerset's side. When he did so, the king viewed this as an insult and imprisoned him in the Tower of London, where he died. The annulment of Frances and Robert's marriage went through 11 days after Overbury's death, in September 1613. Frances married Somerset 3 months later, on December 26. All seemed to run smoothly for Frances until the summer of 1615. A Yorkshire apothecary's assistant confessed on his deathbed that he had been paid £20 by Frances to supply her with poisons for murdering Overbury. The subsequent investigation and trial revealed that Frances had been surreptitiously poisoning Overbury for some time before his death. She was smuggling jellies and tarts into his chamber tainted with white arsenic and other toxic compounds. Frances and her husband were arrested for the murder in mid-October 1615. She admitted her complicity in the crime, however, her husband maintained his innocence. In 1616, Frances was found guilty of murder while her husband was found guilty of being an accessory after the deed. It was proven that he burned incriminating documents and made bribes to cover up his wife's involvement. The couple were sentenced to death initially but later confined to the Tower of London for life, on the orders of King James. They had one daughter born while Frances was under house arrest before she was taken to prison in the Tower of London. They received a pardon from the king in January 1622 and were subsequently released from prison. Frances died 10 years after her release at the age of 42. She was buried at the family seat in Audley End in Essex.